Hi YouTubers, it's next to now, so very important. So it's going to be a Ramble right now, so for like these Rambles, a nice big ass Ramble, like a big ass cigar. I want to talk about something right now that's a very big pet peeve of mine. So if you know what a pet peeve is, it is basically something that pisses you off or something that annoys you, pisses you off like the big ass cigar. So basically, this is one thing, and this has to do with tobacco, nice big ass tobacco pipes and cigars, nice big ass pipe tobacco, big ass cigars, as in the big ass cigar for life. So basically, this is something with tobacco or tobacco related products that kind of pisses me off. So this has to do with health. Now this is a health-related subject, so if you don't like health-related subjects, you know what to do. Click off right now, and don't flame me, don't troll me. Big ass cigar for life. Okay, and if you do troll me, you'll be blocked. Big ass cigar for life. Just being silly ass like the big ass cigar. So anyway, this is something that really does piss me off regarding tobacco and health. Now, obviously, everyone who has any common sense, who lives in any kind of developed, or not developed, anyone who has any kind of common sense in general, I'm not going to get into politics and that bullshit, but has knows that tobacco is unhealthy. So you don't have to be a rocket scientist. You don't have to be, the smartest person on earth to know that tobacco is unhealthy. So pipe, cigars, chew, dip, snooze, whatever, it's all unhealthy. So any product that has anything, any kind of drug in general is bad for you. Even medication like aspirin can be bad for you. Even caffeine and sugar can be bad for you because it is a drug. You can die from drinking too much coffee. You can die from drinking too much water. So you can die from eating too many cheeseburgers, big ass cigar fly. So anyway, so everyone knows tobacco is unhealthy for you. However, there's one thing in regards to tobacco and health, or specifically cigarettes and chewing tobacco and health, that does kind of piss me off. And that's where, say you had, I'm just going to give you an example, a hypothetical example. Say you had a friend named Joe Smo, big ass cigar for life, nice big ass Joe for life, not a real person, Joe Smo, or whatever, and Joe Smo happened to start, smoking cigarettes. So he started smoking cigarettes, and a year later he got terminal lung cancer, stage 4 lung cancer, and 6 months later he was dead. So that's pretty uncommon. Now cigarettes are disgusting, they're terrible, and say you had another friend named Kathy Pat, just giving a random example, who started to dip, chewing tobacco, and 3 months later ended up with very advanced metastatic, lip or mouth or tongue cancer. So what I'm trying to get across is, yes, it is hypothetically possible, I'm not a doctor, I'm not giving you medical advice, to develop cancer or heart disease or stroke, COPD, or any kind of serious detrimental health problem after a very short amount of time. However, in the vast majority of cases, whether you are a moderate tobacco pipe or tobacco cigar smoker, or whether you are a cigarette or chewer or dip or whatever, snoozer or snuffer or whatever, in the vast majority of cases, generally that stuff takes a long time to develop. It's not like you pick up a cigarette and 2 months later you get cancer. So, is it possible? It's kind of like the saying, you could drive home tonight and be hit by a drunk driver. Is that possible? Is it very likely? No. Is it possible, you could turn on your computer and, have the FBI come to your house and arrest you? Yes, it's possible. Again, not getting into politics, that kind of bullshit, but you get the point. So, anyway, what I'm trying to say is that's something kind of, I hate to say it, kind of pisses me off or ticks me off a little bit, because people say, well, Joe Smo, only smoked cigarettes for 1 year and look, he got terminal lung cancer. Yes, it's very sad. It's very, poor Joe Smo. Feel very sad for him, sad ass like the big ass cigar. But I hate it when people say, well, Joe Smo's going to be the new norm. In other words, everybody who smokes cigarettes is going to get cancer after a year. So you get what I'm trying to say is, people say, just because Joe Smo or Kathy Pat or, whatever, whoever, just happened to be the rare person who drew the short straw, that means everybody's going to drew the short straw. That's something that really pisses me off. So I'm not trying to sound like a dick. I mean, yes, we all know tobacco's unhealthy. It's unhealthy. That's why you have to be 18 or 21 to buy it or 19 to buy it. That's why stores should card people. And that's why it's not meant for anybody under 18, under 21, period. However, I absolutely hate when say, well, just because Joe Smo, who's the 1 in a million person, happened to draw the wrong straw and happened to get, lung cancer after 6 months or a year, that means everybody who uses that product. Same thing, it's like, there could be somebody who's 5 pounds overweight, which is not very much. There are plenty of people, there are millions and millions and millions of people who are 5, 10, 15, 20 pounds overweight, and they're not fat ass like the big ass cigar. There are people who are a little bit chubby. And, there could be somebody named, Pat Kale, who just happens to have a massive heart attack. It doesn't mean they're going to say, well, look at what happened to Pat Kale. It's like, everybody, who has one occasional cheeseburger is going to have, a undetected heart murmur and have a massive heart attack. So you get what I'm saying. It's like just because one person draws the short straw doesn't mean everybody's going to draw the short straw. And then they make this, this huge, bullshit documentary, look what happened to Kale Pat or what happened to Joe Smo or Kathy Pat, look what happened to them, everybody. I'm not going to get into a big rant, but you get the point. So that's something that really, really pisses me off, when the whole anti-tobacco zealots or zealots or fascists or fanatics or extremists say, well, look what happened to Joe Smo. He got cancer after 1 year. Everybody who uses any kind of that stuff is going to end up like him because everyone's going to draw the short straw. In the vast majority of cases, absolutely no effing way. Big ass cigar fly, bye.